Good evening from the Madrid Book Fair, where today we have the great honor to have the international best-selling author Juan Gomez Jurado with us. Juan, thank you for being with us. I was walking by the fair and I saw a line of what looks like 3,000 people waiting to sign your books. I know that from here you have to go straight there. Did you check out the line? Did you see a lot of people coming in?
No, I haven't. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's an honor for me to be here with Publishers Weekly. And no, I've just landed into the fair. And yeah, I heard that there's a lot of people waiting. So it's been great to be here for 17 years in a row. And to have this fan base that is growing and growing and growing. And it's really nice to be here signing because of you can make people a little bit happier and make their day a little bit better, you know? That's a pleasure for me.
How is that relationship with your authors? Because I mean, you write thrillers, which is a very popular genre, and people are really. I was just texting Chima's wife, a friend of the house, and I was asking her, say, hey, we're going to be talking with Juan a little bit. Do you have any questions you want me to ask him? So, well, I don't have any questions. I bought the book. I'm not sure when I'm going to have time to read it. So that must be a great compliment. And people are buying your books without waiting to see the reviews, without waiting to see if the book is good. But they're just your fans seem to be following your type of literature. Are you sticking to the thriller for any particular reason? I mean, you specialize in that genre. You've been doing that from the very beginning. Is there something about thrillers that appeals to you more than other genres?
That's an excellent question. Whenever I think about that, it's kind of when you try to disassemble the thriller genre, it is the perfect metaphor for the 21st century. It's kind of there are rules and kind of ways and languages for every genre that there is. For example, when you think about Western, it's kind of, you have the laws of the frontier, you have people who need to take justice in their own hands, This is something that is kind of embedded in our minds, in the minds of viewers and readers, But when you think about the genre of the thriller, you need to think that there are three rules. You have a social danger, a physical danger for our main characters, and also, and this is the most important thing, you have a clock against you. And we have people singing as well.
Things happens when you go live, but the microphones are picking up.
We are live here from the book fair in Madrid. And when you have these three rules, and you think about the 21st century, you see that there's kind of there are things that are very related to how our lives today,
It's hard to read your books and to not see a slight cinematic influence. I mean, and you write in a way that you have first act, second act, third act. I mean, almost like the structure of Sid Field when it comes to screenwriting. When you write, I mean, you have Red Queen is about to be made into a TV series. When you started writing, do you visualize your novels? Do you write from because your characters your books tend to show only what the characters see. We don't know what's going on when they don't see it. Did you have this idea that perhaps your books could be made into movies when you were writing them, or it's just the way that you write?
It's kind of impossible for me to write without the influence. Hello! It's kind of impossible for me to write without the influence of cinema and TV. Besides, I was maybe the last generation that will be able to write without the influence of TV. Because when I grew up, I didn't saw a TV show or a TV, in fact, until I was 5.5, maybe 6 years old. So I learned to read before I learned to watch TV, to watch movies, The first time I was in a cinema, I was like 7, So I read many books before going to the cinema for the first time, and I may be one of the last people who did that, you know. But even so, nowadays I can't disassociate myself, you know, dissociate myself from that influence, you know. And it's good that this happens this way, you know, because of whenever you need to find a new audience, whenever you need to talk to people nowadays, you need to talk to them in the language that they are going to understand. So something, a thriller that it's purely literary, that's kind of a unicorn, you know? It's very difficult to create something like that. Because you need to have like an author that lives in a desert island like for his or her entire life, and then translate whatever he wrote to a book. This is going to be very difficult.
Most of your books, the last book has three women as protagonists. Mm-hmm. Some of your most popular series, the Red Queen series, has a woman as protagonist. How difficult is to write in the voice of a woman? How do you prepare to do that?
This is, I really love this question because it happens to me a lot. That someone approaches me and tells me, oh, this is how difficult it is to write in the voice of a woman. And I find really amusing that even the question exists. Even it's a clever question. I'm not questioning the question. But the answer for me is kind of, how do you find possibly difficult to talk in the voice of half of the population
right.
of the world, you know? And no one ever has asked me, it is difficult to write in the voice of a serial killer.
Right.
So that's the difficult thing, you know, because there are way less serial killers in the world than women. So no, that's the difficult part for me.
But this was not in the prepared interview, but since you brought the serial killer thing, your only non-fiction work is a book about the Virginia Tech massacre. How do you get into that? I mean, it's a very odd choosing.
It was kind of, I was in the United States at that moment, and it happened. I was working for a newspaper in that particular days, and it kind of happened, you know. They told me, why don't you go there and try to learn something and maybe write something about that. And I tried to write a news feature about it, but the news feature was so long that it became a book. And it was a total failure, by the way.
But a commercial failure? But
it was a commercial failure. I don't know about the quality, but it was something that I learned a lot that day.
But you were able to get into the mind of a serial killer. I wonder how much did that research help you to draft your characters of your books? Do you find it useful?
It was to get inside the mind of someone who is able to kill 33 people, including himself, 32 and 33, including himself, like Chosen Hui. It was very, very difficult because of there's this kind of monsters. Whenever they exist, and they do in real life, they are kind of alien people. You know, there's something that you can't relate to. So you can relate to the facts. You can relate to the victims. You can't relate to someone who does that. But you can try and assemble the picture, getting the pieces and getting them together. You know, and I don't know. I tried to do my best, but it was very, very important, very influential in my subsequent work. You know?
I heard that you spend a lot of time documenting yourself before writing. You have an incredible career. I mean, you're incredibly prolific. You're doing radio, press, magazine, podcast, audio originals, TV. When you think of the creative process, how long do you research before you put pen to paper? I mean,
way less time than I would like to, because that's the funny part. Actually, whenever you think of a new project, you know, so I'm trying to visualize. I'm going to write a new novel, and this is going to be the arc of the characters, this is going to be the story, and then you understand that you don't know nothing about the story, that you have this idea, but you need to you have maybe a few bones, but you need to give the full skeleton and the full flesh around it. So you start like, maybe you remember Jurassic Park at the very beginning when they were like scratching the pieces of the Velociraptor and they appeared like the claw, and then you start brushing, and then you get part of the arm, and then you get to the elbow, and then you keep unveiling the full figure, you know? Writing is very similar to that. You try to find your whole story. So I spend way much time, a lot of time, like a year, for every project, just doing the research. But there's a certain point in which you have everything, and then you need to force yourself into the scrivener or the computer and start writing. You know?
Now, you were 27 when you wrote your first book. In 2005, you were so excited about it that you could not wait to finish it, and you sent a 75-page draft to who became the person that became your Antonia. I mean, what most people wait to have the book finished. I mean, what moved you to do that? What moved you to send that early draft?
I don't know. I've been an idiot my whole life, you know, and at that particular time, I was
successful one.
I was I was very, very idiot, and I was the kind of idiot who doesn't wait to have the full manuscript before reaching out for an agent like Antonia Kerrigan, who I remember very fondly. She was kind of my mother, you know. She passed away recently, and she received that 75 pages, and she answered that email really fast and told me.
Yeah, 45 minutes. I mean,
yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing, and I told her, "Oh, thank you. Why are you doing this? Because if I wrote this, and I need to know what happens next." And that same sentence, I need to know what happens next, it has been like my mantra from that day until today, you know? It's kind of whatever it happens inside my mind, whenever I'm trying to write something, it goes up to that sentence, you know? I need to know what happens next. And that's why I try to infuse into the mind of my readers. You need to know what happens next. Because of this particular sensation that you have when you are reading a book, and you need to know, and you are like 13 years old, and you are your head under the blanket with a lantern, trying to, what's going to happen next? That's what happened to me when I was a child, and I keep that sentiment, that feeling very close to my heart, and I try to reproduce it whenever I'm writing something. You know?
Now, you have been translated to over 40 languages, including Macedonian.
Yeah.
Which
That's right.
We'll talk about that in a second. And you're with the largest publishing group in the world. Now, when you think about Antonia and you think about your publisher, and this is a difficult question, and you don't have to answer it, but as an author, as a creator, what has been, or what do you think, if you could give advice to future writers, what's more important, to have the right publishing house or to have the right agent?
Both of them are very important. I mean, there's kind of a process here. The first thing that you need to have is that curiosity that drives you through first the books you read, then the idea, then the manuscript, and then it drives that finished book through an agent into the right publishing house. And every step in the way, they're very, very important. You can't skip anything in that process. So what's most important? I think that the most important thing is to have the drive to get a good book, to get a good agent, to get a good publishing house. You know?
Okay. Now, you're not 28 anymore. You have a family, you have children. You're incredibly busy. I mean, I can imagine that getting those first 75 pages is something that you're probably dedicating all your time. Where do you find the time to write now? I mean, do you write in the mornings? Do you write at night? Do you write in the train, whenever you have a chance? I mean, how does that work?
I only write at home when I am comfortable and I have peace of mind. I never ever believed in the tortured writer kind of myth. Ernest Hemingway with the whiskey bottle and beside the typewriting machine. I don't believe in that. I do believe in finding the right spirit and the right mind to do the right work and to do the right page, the right sentence, the right paragraph, the right page, the right chapter, the right book. That's the only way in which I work. And believe it or not, I spent 95 of my working time writing or researching. And I do other things as well, but there are very few days a month.
Okay, so it is. So you're very prolific, but no, it doesn't take
obviously there are things that are more visible.
It requires, of course, high visibility. When are we going to see Red Queen on the TV?
I know, and I can tell you.
All right.
I know that you would love to know, but there are snipers pointing at me. There's no red dot inside my in my school, but it will be.
Okay. Now, as the original creator of the story, when a TV series or a movie adaptation is created, in this case a TV series, let's talk about Red Queen. How much feedback do you get as the original author onto the series? Because clearly the series, it's going to be different than the book. It's extended. There are more scenes, less scenes. Are you simply given the congratulations, we're going to make the book into a series and that's it? Or are you part of the pre-production process?
I've been incredibly blessed by failure through a lot of years and trying to get into the screen, the big or the small one, any of my work or of my works, any of my novels. And it never worked. So failure after failure, I learned a lot of things, and one of them, it was that you need to keep as much control as you can, which is not easy at all,
okay.
But then I found this perfect marriage between Prime Video and the Amazon Studios platform, and the people who work here in Spain for them, which they are Maria Jose Rodriguez and Adriana Martinez. I mean, they're amazing people. And when we meet for the first time, we discovered, and I never told this before, that we wanted to do the best possible TV show that we will be able to create. And that meant to wait until we had everything, or our ducks in a row, so we will be able to create the perfect TV show. With me involved as executive producer and script consultant, and that took a lot of time because we really need to amass a lot of engagement and momentum from the readers and the book sold and the translations in all the countries that Red Queen has been translated to. And whenever we had all that, we could create the TV show that we have created all together, with special kudos to one particular person who is Amaya Muruzabal. She is the showrunner, and she is kind of, she has a scam inside my mind, I sometimes I'm afraid, that's exactly the way I meant to be, So I can tell you something, and this is something that it has not been said a lot of times. The TV show is better than the novel.
Fantastic.
And I am really proud of Amaya and the team of Prime Video, and I am very proud of being able to say that.
Fantastic. I'm being told that we have hordes of fans waiting out there and that we should get going. The book, once again, is Todo Arde. And we are hoping to see the show very, very soon. Juan, thank you so much for being with Publishers Weekly today. And we hope maybe to see you in New York pretty soon. And we'll do another piece over there.
I would love to. Thank you very much. It's been an honor.
Thank you.
You.